The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the ship Aurora. Stars shimmered like scattered diamonds on black velvet, each one distant, cold, and silent. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the monitors, yet her mind was restless. They were far from Earth, farther than any human had ever gone, chasing a signal that should not exist. It began as a faint pulse, almost imperceptible, buried beneath the natural static of deep space. The ship's sensors picked it up first, a frequency so irregular it seemed alive. Lieutenant Kaur, the ship's communications officer, frowned as he studied the readings. "Commander," he said, voice tense, "I've never seen anything like this. The signal, it's repeating, but not in any pattern we know. It's almost sentient." Ilara's heart quickened. She had heard rumors of forbidden regions of the galaxy, places humans were warned to avoid. Cosmic cartographers had left notes in old records. Do not enter. Do not interfere. Humans are not meant to respond, yet here they were. The temptation was too strong. "Show me the source," Ilara ordered. Her voice was calm, but inside she felt the pull of curiosity. Kaur's fingers danced over the console, and the display zoomed into a distant star cluster. The signal came from a point beyond known systems, a dark void that should have been empty. The crew murmured among themselves. Dr. Lyra, the ship's scientist, shook her head. "There's no star there, nothing. How can there be a signal? Space is dead in that sector. Nothing should exist there." Ilara took a deep breath. She had trained her whole life for discovery, for moments like this. The unknown called to her, but a small voice in her mind whispered caution. Humans had rules for a reason. Some knowledge, some forces were not meant to be touched. "Captain," Kaur interrupted her thoughts. "The signal is intensifying. It's almost responding to us." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member felt it, an eerie tension in the air. The ship's AI, Halia, spoke with its usual calm tone, but there was an unusual weight behind its words. "Commander Ilara, sensors indicate this frequency originates from a dormant cosmic entity. Protocols advise against engagement. Humans interacting with this entity could trigger irreversible consequences." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Halia, can you tell us what kind of entity?" "There is no full record, only legends. Warnings describe it as ancient, beyond human comprehension, and dangerous when awakened. The best course is to maintain distance." She nodded slowly, though her mind raced. The human instinct to explore, to uncover, was overpowering. She turned to her crew. "What do you all think? Do we follow the signal or ignore it?" A silence followed. Kaur fidgeted with his console. "Commander, if we follow it, we might discover something no human has ever seen." But his voice faltered. "It could be a trap. Something we can't fight," Dr. Lyra added. "I've studied cosmic anomalies for 20 years. Nothing about this is natural. The energy readings alone could disrupt space-time." "Ilara." "We shouldn't," but Ilara felt her resolve harden. "If we do nothing, we stay in the same place forever. Humanity was born to reach beyond the stars. We take the risk. We follow the signal." Kaur swallowed, and Lyra reluctantly nodded. Halia remained silent, as if it understood the inevitability of human curiosity. As Aurora adjusted its course toward the signal, the bridge lights flickered slightly. A low hum filled the air, faint at first, then growing louder, resonating in the bones of every crew member. It was not the hum of engines or machinery. It was something else. "Something alive, do you hear that?" whispered Ensign Toma, her voice barely audible. "Yes," Ilara said, her jaw tight. "It's coming from the signal. Keep scanning. I want every piece of data we can collect." The ship moved closer. The empty void of space seemed to react. Stars appeared to bend, light twisting strangely. Crew members felt a subtle nausea, as if the universe itself was warning them to turn back. Suddenly, the monitors flickered. Shadows moved across the screens, shapes that were not ships, not asteroids, but something ancient. Kaur froze, staring at the readings. "It's here," he said. I don't understand it, but it's aware of us." Ilara's stomach twisted. Every story she had ever read, every warning from explorers who disappeared in unknown space flashed before her eyes. Yet she felt no fear, only determination. Halia's voice cut through the tension. "Commander, the entity's energy signature is now synchronized with the ship's systems. I advise extreme caution. Physical reality may be altered in proximity to the source." Understood, Alara replied. Her hand hovered over the console. But we keep going. No turning back. As Aurora crossed the final light years to the signal, the hum transformed into a low, whispering chorus. Crew members strained to hear words that were not human. Every note seemed to seep into their minds, tugging at memories, desires, fears. Dr. Lyra clutched her head. It's talking to us. I can feel it inside me. Core shook. It's alive. It's thinking. Ilara's eyes swept over her crew. They were tense, scared, but she knew the moment they were in. Humanity had broken the first rule. They had reached beyond the boundaries set for them. Suddenly, the monitors went black. Only the whispering remained. Then a single message appeared on the main screen, written in a language no human had seen. You should not have come. The words were simple, yet they carried the weight of eternity. The crew fell silent, staring at the screen, their hearts pounding. Alara took a deep breath, gripping the edge of the console. We've awakened something, she said softly. Something old, something powerful, and now there is no turning back. Outside the ship, the void seemed to pulse. Stars shimmered unnaturally. A cold wind, impossible in space, brushed against the hull of Aurora. The forbidden signal had been answered, and with it, humanity had stepped into a game they had no chance of fully understanding. For the first time, every human on board understood the truth. The universe had rules. And humans had broken the most important one. And yet, they could not look away. The bridge fell into tense silence. Every crew member felt it. The pull of the unknown, the lure of discovery. The forbidden signal awaited, and the universe was watching. The Aurora drifted closer to the heart of the void, where the forbidden signal pulsed like a living heartbeat. Commander Alara stood on the bridge, her hands gripping the railing, feeling the weight of every choice she had made. The words from the signal, "You should not have come," still echoed in her mind. But she refused to turn back. Humans were explorers. They could not ignore a mystery, no matter how dangerous. Lieutenant Core hunched over his console, analyzing the strange energy readings. "Commander," he said, his voice tight, "the signal isn't just a frequency anymore. It's interacting with the ship. The systems are reacting to it. Halia is struggling to compensate." Halia's calm voice filled the bridge. "Commander Alara, sensors detect interference in the ship's navigation and communication systems. External forces appear to manipulate reality near the signal source. Extreme caution advised." Alara shook her head. "We knew this would happen, Halia. Keep the shields active and monitor all systems. We go forward." Dr. Lyra stepped forward, her expression pale. "Commander, I have never seen anything like this. The signal is altering space itself. Distances are shifting, stars are bending. If we continue, we might not even be able to return to normal space." Alara turned to her scientist. "Lyra, I understand the risks. But if we stop now, humanity will never know what lies beyond. We face this challenge together." The crew exchanged nervous glances. Every one of them felt the strange pull of the signal, like a magnetic force tugging at their minds. Even Halia seemed uneasy. Core tapped a sequence on his console, trying to stabilize the ship. "The more we approach, the stronger it gets. The entity, it's aware of us. It's curious. Or testing us." Ensign Thomas swallowed hard. "Testing? Why would it?" Her words caught in her throat as a chill ran down her spine. Something was watching. Something ancient. Something far beyond human comprehension. As Aurora crossed deeper into the void, strange phenomena began to manifest. Shadows flickered along the walls of the ship, moving independently of the crew. Lights dimmed and brightened without explanation. A faint whispering filled the corridors. Soft at first, then louder. Almost audible words forming in the mind rather than the ears. Dr. Lyra's hand trembled as she gripped the railing. "It's speaking to us. Through our thoughts." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Stay focused. Don't let it distract you. It wants us afraid. It wants hesitation. We cannot give it that power." The first direct test came suddenly. A crew member, Lieutenant Ryan, vanished. One moment he was standing at the console. The next he was gone, leaving only a faint shimmer in the air where he had stood. Panic rippled across the bridge. "Ryan!" shouted Core, but there was no response. Halia scanned the area. Lieutenant Rion's physical presence is no longer detected. It is possible he has been absorbed or relocated by the entity. Probability of recovery is uncertain. A heavy silence fell. Crew members glanced at one another, fear etched on their faces. But Ilara's resolve hardened. We move forward. Losing one of us is a risk we anticipated. Stay focused. We will face this together. The signal pulsed faster, almost angrily. It seemed aware that humans were defying it, pressing further into the void it had guarded for eons. The ship shook as an invisible force pressed against it, bending the metal hull and warping the gravity inside. Dr. Lyra shouted, "Commander! The structural integrity is failing. The signal, whatever it is affecting every system." Ilara ignored the trembling in her hands. "Halia, reinforce shields. Divert all power to engines and navigation. Core, stabilize communications. Keep us connected to Earth." Halia responded immediately, but even the AI struggled. Communications flickered with static, and messages from Earth came distorted, almost as if something was filtering their words. Outside, the void seemed to come alive. Light twisted into shapes resembling ancient massive forms, creatures that should have existed only in legends. They shimmered at the edge of perception, never fully revealed, yet terrifying in their suggestion of scale and power. The crew felt the psychological weight of the entity. Every fear, every doubt, every insecurity was magnified. Shadows seemed to whisper personal secrets, tempting them to turn back, to abandon the mission. Ensign Toma's voice trembled. "Commander, I can't. I feel like it's inside my head." Ilara placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "Focus, Toma. You are not alone. We face this together. Let's not forget who we are, humans. We adapt, we survive, and we do not surrender to fear." The ship's sensors detected a sudden spike. The entity, or whatever controlled the signal, had responded directly. Energy beams invisible to the eye lanced across the ship, probing, testing. Crew members screamed as the beams passed through them, not harming physically, but overwhelming their minds with visions of past mistakes and possible futures where they failed. Dr. Lyra fell to her knees. I see it. The universe bending. I feel like I'm losing myself." Ilara's voice cut through the chaos. "No, hold on. You are stronger than this. Remember why we came." Core shouted from the console. "Commander!" "The signal, it's trying to communicate. I think it wants something from us." Ilara nodded slowly, realization dawning. "It's testing us. We broke the rule, yes, but it may want to see what humans are capable of. Our courage, our will, perhaps even our creativity. That is what it values." The crew exchanged wary glances. Fear remained, but a spark of determination flickered. They were humans, resilient, clever, and unyielding. They would not be mere victims of a cosmic force. Halia's voice was calm but urgent. "Commander, the entity's attention is focused entirely on the crew. It is adapting to our responses. Strategic decision-making and unity are critical to survival." Ilara took a deep breath. "Then we give it exactly what it wants. But on our terms. We show it humanity, the part that cannot be broken by fear or darkness." The whispers grew louder, almost deafening, yet the crew felt a strange bond forming among them. Together, they resisted the entity's mental probes. Together, they pushed forward, deeper into the unknown. The forbidden signal pulsed, as if acknowledging their courage. Yet there was still danger ahead. Shadows lurked in every corner. Reality itself seemed fragile. And humanity had only just begun to understand the consequences of breaking the universe's one rule. Ilara's eyes scanned the void ahead. The darkness seemed endless, but the light of determination burned within the crew. They were explorers. They were humans, and they would not turn back. Even if the universe itself wished they had. The aurora drifted deeper into the void. Outside, the blackness was no longer empty. The stars seemed to shimmer differently, bending and twisting as if space itself were alive. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the distant point of the forbidden signal. Every instinct in her body screamed caution, but curiosity, human curiosity, drove her forward. Lieutenant Core was pale, staring at the readings. "Commander, I don't understand. The signal, it's changing. It's no longer just a frequency, it's becoming something." Dr. Lyra's voice trembled. "I've never seen energy like this. It's alive. Not just alive, aware. It's thinking." Halia, the ship's AI, spoke in its calm voice. but even its usual steadiness held a hint of unease. "Commander, the entity's energy signature is stabilizing and expanding. Its presence is now directly influencing the space around the aurora. Probability of unknown physical and mental effects is extremely high." Ilara nodded slowly. "We knew this would happen. Hylia, keep shields at maximum. Monitor the crew for any psychological or physical interference." The bridge trembled as a low vibration filled the hull. At first it was subtle, almost like a heartbeat. Then it grew stronger, resonating through the metal floors, the walls, the very air. It was a rhythm that seemed to echo in the minds of every human on board. Crew members glanced at each other, fear flashing in their eyes. "Commander, it's communicating," whispered Ensign Toma. "I can hear thoughts. Inside my head, not mine. Something else. Something old?" Dr. Lyra covered her ears, but the sound or thought penetrated anyway. "It's awakening. It's awake." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Stay focused. Everyone, remember who you are. You are human. Humans adapt. Humans survive. We will not let it control us." Suddenly the ship's lights flickered. The air grew heavy, pressing against the lungs of every crew member. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the bridge, moving independently of the light source. For a moment the figures seemed almost humanoid, but far too large, far too distorted. Lieutenant Kor staggered. "Commander, it's showing itself, I think. I can feel its presence. Immense, ancient, endless." Dr. Lyra's voice shook. "It's not just awake, it's aware of us, of our intentions, our fears, our thoughts." The aurora shuddered violently as invisible forces pressed against the hull. A low hum rose to a deafening roar in the minds of the crew. Some screamed. Some dropped to the floor, clutching their heads. But Ilara remained standing, gripping the railing, forcing herself to think clearly. Halia's voice cut through the chaos. "Commander, the entity's consciousness is attempting direct mental interaction. It is probing the crew's memories, desires, and fears. Defensive protocols have limited effectiveness." Ilara knew the moment had arrived. Humanity had crossed a line, the universe's most important rule, and now faced the consequences. But humans had never been the type to surrender. "Halia, I need suggestions. Anything we can do to protect the crew's minds?" "Commander," Halia replied, "the entity reacts to cognition and emotion. Unity, confidence, and decisive action may reduce psychological interference. Individual fear amplifies entity interaction. I recommend coordinated focus on collective human will." Ilara nodded. "Then that's what we do. Everyone, focus together. You are human, and humans do not break. We adapt, we survive, we endure." The vibration in the ship intensified. Shadows outside the windows stretched farther, twisting into shapes of unimaginable scale. Eyes, ancient and vast, appeared among the darkness, seemingly staring into the very souls of the crew. A sudden flash of light blinded everyone for a moment. When their vision returned, the shadows had retreated slightly, revealing a faint form, a massive ethereal shape floating in the void. It was enormous, far larger than any starship or planet. Its outline shimmered and flickered, impossible to comprehend. "It's enormous," Kor whispered. I can't even see it all at once." Dr. Lyra shook her head. "It defies physics. It's everywhere and nowhere at the same time," the entity pulsed. A voice, deep and resonant, seemed to echo in the minds of every crew member. "Humans, you have broken the rule. And now you awaken me." The words carried no anger, yet their weight was unbearable. Fear and awe struck the crew like lightning. Ilara's heart pounded, but she forced herself to respond, not with words, but with thought. "We are human. We are explorers. We adapt. We endure." The response seemed to reach the entity. The pulsing slowed slightly. The shadows retreated a little further. It observed them, as if studying their courage, their defiance, their human spirit. Ensign Toma whispered, "Commander, it's judging us. I can feel it. It's curious." Dr. Lyra's voice was still shaky but determined. "We may not be able to fight it physically, but our minds, our courage, our unity, that may be the only weapon we have." Ilara felt a surge of determination. Humanity had faced impossible odds before. Plagues, wars, the endless void of space, and they had survived. Aurora was small, fragile, and human-made, but humans were more than their ships. Halia, she said, keep shields at maximum. Prepare defensive measures, but focus on coordination. Crew, listen to me, hold your focus. Together we will show this entity what humans are capable of. The entity pulsed again, larger this time, rippling through space and bending starlight. Its presence was overwhelming, yet something in the rhythm of its pulsing suggested recognition, an acknowledgement that the humans were not entirely insignificant. Kor muttered, "Commander, I think it's learning. It's observing, testing us, seeing if we can withstand its influence." Ilara nodded. "Then we endure. We survive. Humanity does not bow to fear, even in the face of the infinite." The whispers faded slightly, replaced by a low hum that seemed almost contemplative. The ship trembled, but less violently now. The crew, though terrified, found a strange resolve. Together they faced the unimaginable. Outside, the void seemed endless, but within it floated something ancient and aware. Humanity had awakened a force older than stars themselves. They had broken the rule. But for now, they survived. Ilara stared at the darkness, knowing that this was only the beginning. The awakening had begun, and the universe had taken notice. And somewhere, deep in the void, the ancient entity watched and waited to see what humans would do next. The aurora floated deeper into the void, but the calm was deceptive. The forbidden signal had awakened something ancient, something vast, powerful, and aware. Outside the ship, the emptiness of space seemed to quiver, as if reality itself was bending under the entity's influence. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge, gripping the railing. Her eyes scanned the monitors, but nothing could fully capture the scale of what was happening. Stars warped unnaturally. Distant planets glimmered like melting ice. The void was alive, and the entity's presence was spreading. Lieutenant Kor's fingers flew over the console. "Commander, sensors are detecting massive energy fluctuations across nearby systems. It's like the signal. The entity is reaching out. Entire star systems are destabilizing." Dr. Lyra's face was pale. "It's not just our ship anymore. The entity's influence is spreading. If we don't stop it, or at least contain it, the consequences could be catastrophic. Human colonies in the next quadrant could be at risk." Halia's calm voice carried an undertone of urgency. "Commander, the entity appears to be extending its consciousness beyond the void. It is interacting with matter, energy, and space-time itself. Probability of uncontrollable phenomena is increasing exponentially." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Then we adapt. We survive. We protect humanity." The first tangible sign of chaos came as a sharp tremor passed through the ship. Monitors flashed warnings. Gravity fluctuations, energy spikes, navigational systems failing intermittently. Crew members struggled to maintain their balance as the aurora shuddered violently. "It's not just our ship," Kor said, his voice strained. "Nearby satellites and vessels are showing similar anomalies. The entity is affecting anything in this sector." Dr. Lyra's voice shook as she pointed to a holographic display. "Commander, look at that. Solar storms, artificial satellites, even uninhabited planets are experiencing rapid climate and energy shifts. This is spreading faster than anything I've ever modeled." Ilara's eyes hardened. "Then we need to act. Halia, prioritize data collection. Track the source of these disturbances. Kor, plot a course that keeps us in control. Dr. Lyra, I need your expertise on energy patterns, anything we can use to predict or counter the entity's moves." Outside the ship, the void pulsed with an eerie light. Shadows stretched across the cosmos, immense forms twisting like smoke through the stars. Crew members felt the psychological weight of the entity's presence, an oppressive awareness that seemed to pierce their minds, probing fears, weaknesses, and doubts. Ensign Toma trembled. "Commander, it's everywhere. I can feel it. In the distance, in me. It's reaching out." Ilara placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "Focus, Toma. It's testing us. Remember, we are human. We endure. We adapt. We survive. Don't let it break you." The aurora approached a nearby star system, one that had recently begun to experience the entity's influence. Planets were shifting unnaturally. Magnetic storms erupted in the atmosphere, lightning flashing in impossible patterns. Kor's console lit up with alarms. "Commander, The local colonies. Communications are failing. Some may already be lost. The entity. It's affecting them directly. Dr. Lyra's voice was urgent. If we don't find a way to stabilize its influence, entire civilizations could collapse. We are not just facing a cosmic force. We are facing potential extinction for untold numbers of people. Alara's hands tightened on the railing. Then we do what humans have always done. We face the impossible. We survive. We fight with our minds, our ingenuity, and our courage. Halia, focus every available sensor on the entity. We need to understand it. Its behavior, its limits, anything we can use to protect humanity. The entity seemed to react immediately. The pulsing energy outside intensified, twisting reality further. Ships and debris in the sector moved unpredictably. Stars flickered. Space itself seemed to shiver. Crew members clutched consoles and rails, struggling to stay upright. "Commander," Core shouted over the alarms. It's testing our reactions again. It's observing how we respond to chaos." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Then we show it humanity's strength. Stand firm. Do not panic. Every action, every decision matters. We are not helpless." Suddenly, a nearby planet erupted with energy. Magnetic storms lashed the surface, tearing through cities and colonies. Halia reported countless casualties. The crew gasped, watching the devastation on the holographic display. Dr. Lyra's voice was filled with resolve. "Commander, if the entity responds to courage, ingenuity, and willpower, maybe we can influence it. Maybe we can show it that humanity is not something to destroy, but something to respect." Ilara nodded slowly. "Then that's exactly what we will do. We have survived worse. We have adapted before, and we will adapt now. Humanity will not bow to fear, even against an ancient force like this." As the Aurora pressed forward, the crew felt a strange shift. The entity's pulses were now observing, analyzing. It was as if it was learning, responding to their defiance. The void outside remained alive, terrifying, and unpredictable. Shadows twisted into shapes that suggested forms too massive to comprehend. The hum of the entity's consciousness was deafening in their minds, but the crew held their focus. Ensign Toma whispered, "Commander, I think it's noticing us. It's acknowledging our will, our courage." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Then we show it more. We will endure, we will survive, and we will protect humanity, no matter the cost." Outside the ship, the universe continued to quake under the entity's influence. Chaos spread across star systems. But inside the Aurora, humans, fragile, small yet indomitable, stood united. The forbidden signal had awakened something vast. It had spread chaos across the galaxy. But for the first time, it faced humans who would not bow, who would not surrender. And the battle, silent, mental, and cosmic, was only beginning. The Aurora drifted in the expanding void, the cosmic entity's influence stretching farther across space. The crew felt its presence like a weight pressing on their minds. The hum of the forbidden signal had become a roar, filling their thoughts with whispers of fear, doubt, and despair. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge, her jaw tight. The void outside shimmered unnaturally, twisting reality itself. Stars seemed to bend and pulse. Distant planets warped, and cosmic storms flared in impossible patterns. Humanity's curiosity had awakened something ancient, and now they were paying the price. Lieutenant Core tapped frantically on his console. "Commander, the ship is barely holding together. Hull stress levels are critical in multiple sectors. The entity's influence is destabilizing our systems faster than Halia can compensate." Dr. Lyra's face was pale and drawn. "And it's not just the ship. My readings show interference in our minds, in our memories, even in our perception of time. It's what bending reality. Some crew members are experiencing hallucinations, others are frozen in fear." Halia's calm voice carried urgency. "Commander, mental and physical strain on the crew is increasing. Psychological collapse is possible within hours if intervention is not applied. Entity influence remains constant and unpredictable." Ilara took a deep breath. She knew the cost of curiosity was high, but humans were not built to surrender. "We face it together. Everyone focus. Remember who you are. We are human, and humans endure." The first consequence struck suddenly. Lieutenant Rion, who had vanished in the previous part, reappeared, but not entirely himself. His eyes glowed faintly, his movements stiff, mechanical. He spoke in a voice that was not entirely his own. They know. They see everything. Fear, failure, weakness. Everything is exposed. The crew froze. Dr. Lyra stepped forward cautiously. Commander, it's possessed, or merged with the entity's influence. We don't know what it wants with him, but he is changed. Ilara's voice was firm. We adapt. Ryan is still human. If we stay united, we can protect him and ourselves. But the entity was relentless. Gravity fluctuations swept the ship. Lights flickered. Air pressure dropped in sectors. Crew members were thrown to the floor, some injured. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls, writhing like living tendrils. Whispers filled their minds, revealing personal fears, regrets, and doubts. Ensign Toma's voice trembled. Commander, I see my family, my failures, all of it. It's overwhelming me. Ilara placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Focus, Toma, you are human. Humans survive. Breathe. Concentrate on your strength, not your fear. Dr. Lyra analyzed the entity's behavior. Commander, I think I've identified a pattern. The entity reacts to fear, to chaos, to division. But when the crew unites, when we act decisively, it hesitates. It tests us but doesn't destroy immediately. Our unity may be our only defense. Ilara nodded. Then we stay united. We stay strong. Every action we take must show courage and ingenuity. That is how humans survive. That is how we fight back. The entity responded almost immediately. The ship shook violently. Systems overloaded. Shadows seemed to reach inside the hull, probing every corner. Crew members clung to consoles, rails, anything they could hold. Core shouted over the alarms. Commander, the entity is intensifying its tests. It's learning from our responses. Every fear, every hesitation, it feeds on. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Then we show it no hesitation, no fear. We endure. Suddenly the ship's energy surged. Lights flashed, consoles sparking. Crew members were thrown off balance as the Aurora pitched violently. Halia warned of a critical hull breach in the lower engineering bay. Dr. Lyra gasped. Commander, the lower decks are collapsing. If we don't stabilize the ship, we'll lose critical systems, and we may not survive the next surge. Ilara's mind raced. She had to act fast. Core reroute all available power to hull stabilization. Halia, assist. Lyra, prioritize damage control teams. Move quickly. Every second counts. As the crew worked frantically, the entity's whispers grew louder. They filled the ship with visions of failure. Loss, death, hopelessness. Some crew members wavered, paralyzed by terror. Others gritted their teeth, pushing through the fear. Ensign Toma whispered again, Commander, I think it's testing us, seeing if we can endure, if we can survive our own fears. Ilara's jaw tightened. Then we endure. We survive, we adapt. Humanity is not defined by fear. It is defined by courage and creativity. This entity may be ancient, but we are human, and humans never give up. Hours passed, though time felt distorted. The entity's influence was constant, relentless. Crew members were exhausted, physically and mentally. But slowly they began to regain control. The Aurora stabilized. Hull integrity improved. Shadows receded slightly. The whispers faded into a distant hum. Dr. Lyra exhaled. Commander, we made it for now. But the cost of curiosity is high. We've learned that crossing the line has consequences, and the universe is watching. Ilara nodded, her gaze on the distant void. We knew the risks. We chose to explore anyway. That is humanity. We survive even when the cost is high. We endure, and we grow stronger for it. But we must be careful. Every action matters now. Core glanced at the monitors, worry etched on his face. Commander, this is only the beginning. The entity is awake, and we don't yet know what it will demand, or how far it will go to test us. Ilara's eyes hardened. Then we will be ready. Humans adapt. Humans endure. And humanity will not break. Not now, not ever. Outside, the void remained alive and shifting. The entity had tested the crew and they had survived, but only barely. The cost of curiosity was clear. The universe had rules and humans had broken one. Chaos had spread. Fear had touched every mind. And yet humanity had endured. But the true challenge was only beginning. The entity had awakened fully. Its influence would reach farther. its tests would grow harsher, and the humans of the Aurora would need all their courage, ingenuity, and unity to survive the trials ahead. Ilara stood silently on the bridge, staring at the shimmering void. We've paid the cost, but we will not falter. Humanity endures, and whatever comes next, we will face it together. The crew, though weary and shaken, nodded in unison. They had survived the first wave. They had endured the cost of curiosity. But the universe had many more lessons to teach, and the entity was watching. And somewhere deep in the void, the ancient presence waited patiently, ready to push humanity to its limits. The Aurora floated through the void, battered but not broken. Outside, the cosmic entity pulsed with immense power, stretching its influence across the stars. The crew of the Aurora had endured the tests, survived the chaos, and felt the weight of the universe pressing on them. Yet within that pressure, a spark of determination ignited. Humanity was not a species that surrendered. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the strange, shifting lights of the void. "Halia," she said firmly, "we have survived the tests. Now it's time to fight back. Find any weakness, any anomaly in the entity's behavior. Core, Lyra, focus. Together we can turn this against it." Halia's voice, calm but urgent, responded. "Commander, analysis indicates that the entity's consciousness adapts to fear and chaos. However, its attention is limited. Strategic, coordinated action may exploit gaps in its influence. Human ingenuity could create opportunities where others fail." Ilara nodded. "Then that's exactly what we will do. Crew, listen closely. We are small in the face of this power, but humans survive by thinking, creating, and never giving up. We fight with what makes us human: courage, ingenuity, and unity. The first step was observation. Dr. Lyra monitored the energy patterns pulsing from the entity. "Commander, I think I see a pattern." Its attention shifts between individuals based on emotion, fear, or hesitation. If we act as a team and stay calm, we may limit its influence and even manipulate its reactions. Core added, "So, we use ourselves as bait or decoys. We show its strength, not fear." Ilara's eyes hardened. "Exactly. It is testing us. But humans are unpredictable. Our courage and creativity may be the very thing it cannot anticipate. That is our advantage." The crew prepared themselves mentally and physically. Every console, every sensor, every system was monitored. Hull stabilization, shields, engines, all optimized for precision. The Aurora became more than a ship. It became a platform of human ingenuity, focus, and defiance. The entity's pulses intensified, probing their minds again. Shadows twisted through the void, pressing against the hull. Crew members felt whispers in their thoughts, memories of failure, fears, and doubts. But Ilara's voice rang clear. "Focus on what is real. We are humans. We endure, we adapt, we fight." Something shifted. The entity hesitated. Its pulse slowed, almost as if considering the crew's defiance. The shadows faltered. The whispers became uncertain, less commanding. Dr. Lyra shouted, "Commander, its energy fluctuations are reacting to our coordinated focus. If we maintain unity, we can influence its behavior. It's learning from us." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Then we push further. Core, adjust the ship's trajectory to exploit those gaps in its attention. Lyra, generate interference patterns with the ship's energy grid. Show it our unpredictability. Halia, assist with precision timing and calculations. Every human decision must be deliberate. Every action must show courage." The Aurora moved with careful precision. Systems hummed, shields pulsed, and the crew executed maneuvers that defied conventional logic. The entity reacted, sending powerful energy waves toward the ship, but the waves met calculated resistance, bending harmlessly around the hull. Ensign Toma whispered, awe and fear mixed. "Commander, it's responding to us. Our choices, our courage, it's adapting. We can influence it." Ilara nodded. "Yes, humans are clever. Humans survive. That is our weapon. It may be older than stars, but it cannot predict the resilience and ingenuity of humanity." The battle of minds and wills continued. The entity tested them relentlessly, warping space, projecting visions of despair, manipulating perceptions. Yet the crew held firm. They communicated silently, mentally coordinating their actions. creating patterns the entity could not predict. Dr. Lyra's console lit up with a new discovery. Commander, there! I've found a concentration point in its energy field, a fragment that is less stable than the rest. It reacts to human creativity and problem-solving. We can use this. If we focus our combined ingenuity, we may force it to retract its influence temporarily. Ilara's jaw tightened. Then that's exactly what we do. Halia, calculate a synchronized operation. Every crew member contributes. Our minds, our decisions, our courage, everything we have is a weapon. The Aurora became a conduit of human will. Crew members acted with precision, unity, and creativity. Energy patterns shifted, pulsing in response to their coordinated actions. The entity's influence wavered. Shadows recoiled. The whispers faltered. Kor shouted, exhilaration in his voice. Commander, it's working. We're pushing it back. Ilara felt a surge of pride. Humanity had faced the impossible, and now they were fighting back. The entity, vast and ancient, powerful beyond comprehension, had underestimated one thing: human will, human courage, human ingenuity. The void outside pulsed violently one final time, then stabilized slightly. The shadows receded. The whispers faded into a distant hum. The fragment of the entity's energy field, unstable, vulnerable, responded to the human's focused effort. Dr. Lyra exhaled. Commander, it's contained for now. The entity's attention is fractured. It may regroup, but this is proof we can resist. Humanity can stand against even forces older than stars. Ilara looked at her crew, exhausted but resolute. Yes, humanity fights back. We survive, we endure, and we learn. This is not just about exploration or curiosity. It is about showing the universe what humans are capable of. Outside, the void remained vast and mysterious. The entity was still awake, its consciousness vast and unknowable. But for the first time, humans had influenced it. They had fought back, not with weapons, but with their minds, their courage, and their unity. Ensign Toma whispered softly, awestruck. Commander, do you think it respects us? Ilara's eyes scanned the darkness, thoughtful. Respect may be the wrong word. It is aware now. It knows that humans are unpredictable, resilient, and courageous. That knowledge may be the key to survival. Humanity has a reputation now, one that even the universe cannot ignore. Halia's calm voice concluded, Commander, crew, the entity remains active. However, its influence has been mitigated through coordinated human action. Probability of continued survival has increased. Human ingenuity and unity are effective against this force. Ilara nodded slowly. Then we prepare for what comes next. Humanity fights back, endures, and survives. No matter the odds, this is who we are. And somewhere in the void, the ancient entity pulsed, observing, learning, and perhaps understanding the power of humanity. The Aurora floated in the void, battered, exhausted, but alive. The cosmic entity, ancient, vast, and unknowable, had retreated slightly, its presence still immense but no longer immediately threatening. The crew of the Aurora had survived tests, chaos, and the unknown, proving that human courage, ingenuity, and unity could stand against even the oldest forces in the universe. Commander Ilara stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the strange, twisted expanse outside. The void was calm, but the eerie shimmer of the forbidden signal remained. It pulsed faintly, a reminder that the universe was alive, watching and full of rules that humans had once broken. Dr. Lyra, exhausted but resolute, turned from her console. Commander, the energy patterns are stabilizing. The entity is still present, but its influence has been reduced. For now, it is dormant, seems to be observing us rather than attacking. Lieutenant Kor ran his fingers over the console. We survived. But at what cost? Systems are damaged, some crew members. They've been affected by its influence, and the colonies in the neighboring systems. We don't know the full extent yet. Ilara's gaze was firm. Yes, there is a cost. Humanity's curiosity always comes with risk. But look at what we've done. We survived, we fought, and we proved something important to the universe and to ourselves. Humans endure, even against impossible odds. Ensign Toma spoke softly, her voice still trembling. Commander, do you think it respects us? The entity? Ilara considered the void outside. Perhaps not respect, but it knows now. It knows that humans are unpredictable, resilient, and courageous. That knowledge may keep us alive in the future. Humanity has made its mark in this corner of the universe. Halia's calm voice added, Commander, the crew's cohesion and ingenuity have temporarily stabilized the situation. While the entity remains active, probability of continued survival has increased. Humans have demonstrated adaptability, courage, and problem-solving capacity beyond expectations. Ilara nodded slowly. Then we take this lesson with us. We prepare, we learn, and we survive. That is humanity. That is what makes us strong. The bridge was quiet for a moment, the hum of the ship's systems replacing the whispers of the entity. Crew members exchanged looks, tired, shaken, but proud. They had faced a force older than stars, something that could have ended them in an instant. And yet they endured. Dr. Lyra broke the silence. Commander, we must report this to Earth. The colonies nearby, the neighboring systems, they need to prepare. Humanity has learned a lesson here. Curiosity is essential, but so is caution. And courage. Courage is our greatest weapon. Ilara's jaw tightened. Agreed, we share what we know. We protect humanity, and we continue to explore, because that is who we are. We are human. We endure. We survive. We adapt. Outside the ship, the void shimmered faintly. The forbidden signal remained, pulsing softly, like a heartbeat that had calmed but never stopped. The entity was watching, learning, and perhaps waiting. But humanity had made its presence known. They had shown that even the smallest species, fragile and mortal, could defy forces far older and more powerful than themselves. Kor let out a slow breath. Commander, I think we've changed something. The entity may never see humans the same way again. Ilara allowed herself a faint smile. Good, let it watch. Let it learn. Humanity is not a species to underestimate. We survive, we endure, and we will continue to reach beyond the stars. Always. Halia reported the final status. Commander, systems have been stabilized to operational minimums. Crew health is within tolerable levels. Energy readings indicate the entity has shifted focus, no longer actively influencing the ship. Probability of continued safe operation has increased. Ilara looked at her crew, exhausted, wary, but alive. We've survived the unimaginable. We've faced the cost of curiosity. And we've fought back. Humanity has endured again. And the universe? The universe knows it. Outside, the stars shimmered, distant and beautiful. The void remained full of mysteries, full of rules humans were warned never to break. But humans had broken one rule and survived. They had learned, grown, and proven that even against forces beyond comprehension, humanity's spirit could endure. Dr. Lyra whispered almost to herself, We may have awakened something, but we've also awakened ourselves. We are more than we thought we were. Ilara nodded, looking ahead. Yes, Lyra, and that is the greatest discovery of all. The universe has rules. We broke one, and we survived. Humanity has shown the strength of its courage, its ingenuity, and its will. That is the story we take forward. The Aurora set course back to known space. Systems were damaged, but the crew's spirit was whole. They had faced chaos. They had endured tests that no human had ever survived. And they had fought back against a force older than the stars themselves. And somewhere in the void, the ancient entity pulsed silently, aware, patient, and perhaps changed. Humanity had broken a rule. Humanity had paid the cost. But humanity had endured. And for now, that was victory. Commander Ilara looked at the stars, thinking of all the systems still untouched, of all the mysteries that waited. She smiled faintly. Humans survive, she whispered. And humanity will keep surviving, no matter what the universe throws at us. The void remained quiet but full of possibility, and the humans of the Aurora, small, fragile, but courageous, continued their journey, ready for whatever came next.